So the ISB PGP while deadline for the round 2 application cycle is due very soon. It is 16th of March 2025, and I hope you are gearing up for your preparation for the GMAT or the GRE tests. And the ones who wanted to submit their applications with the CAT scores have already submitted that. Now, for the people who are planning to apply to the ISB PGP while in the round 2 application cycle, your ISB resume will be a very important part of the submission that you will be taking up. Now, so when you're applying to the ISB PGP while or the PGP or the PGP Pro program, ISB requires a resume to be submitted now. However, the way you will structure your resume for the ISB PGP while, because you don't have work experience or very limited work experience, will be very different from someone who will have substantial work experience. So this workshop today, we have brought up the context of people with lower work experience as well as zero work experience, and try to show them how they can structure their resume, build their resume for a strong MBA application for the ISB PGP while. So let's get started. And in case you have any questions, please feel free to leave your questions in the comments, and do feel free to reach out to us in case you need any help with the application or the interview process for the upcoming cycle. So the first thing that you should know about is that ISB has given a sample format in the application portal itself. So when you are starting to build your resume with this particular workshop, please do download that format and keep everything aligned to that particular format specifically. So what all can you highlight when you are, crafting your resume for an MBA application, especially as a fresher or as someone who has lesser work experience? You need to look at your leadership skills. You need to be able to showcase your academic excellence and also talk about your story in terms of what you are putting together in your essays. This should be a base for those stories. So thus, the ISB resume that you'll put up for your PGP while application must have these underlying principles well in place. So 3 things that we need to show in your ISB resume are your leadership skills, whatever experiences you have had in academics, your extracurriculars or internships need to be highlighted in this ISB resume. And you can also showcase your academic excellence. Now, there's one point over here that ISB talks about and very specifically inform students, and it is a guideline that you should not be mentioning your grades in the you shouldn't be not be mentioning your grades, your GPA or your test scores in the resume. That is a mandatory requirement for the ISB resume this year. So while you cannot show that, there are other ways to showcase your academic excellence. Make sure that you are doing that in a very reasonable manner. Third is your personal impact. You should be able to show your extracurricular activities and what kind of an impact or how you have made a difference through those extracurricular activities through the ISB resume if you are a fresher or someone with lesser work experience. Now, the format typically has major sections which are personal details, education, your work experience, which you can use to showcase your internships or your part-time roles, and extracurriculars as well as achievement section. So these are the 4 major sections which will be relevant for you when you are starting with your ISB resume. Before that, build up a Word file which will have all the information that you have to put in terms of your internships, your part-time roles. Categorize the information and throw them in these boxes so that when you are sitting down to put up your final resume, you will be able to prioritize and present your information in the right possible manner. So when you are working on your resume as a fresher, what are the things that you can mention? How do you structure your bullet points is also very important. Showcase leadership, impact, and scale through your bullet points. So it is important for you to be able to showcase the leadership, impact, and scale. So make sure that the bullet points are structured in a manner that they showcase these particular aspects of your achievements in every section possible. When you don't have the liberty of mentioning your grades or your CGPA, how do you really showcase that in the resume? So you can look at your academic performance. You can also talk about the kind of projects that you have done, the kind of achievements that you have had, highlight and quantify the results. So maybe if you cannot just mention your CGPA, that is not allowed in the resume, but you can quantify other results as a part of that project that you achieved. So for example, you developed a predictive analytics model achieving 85% accuracy in forecasting the sales trends. So this is something that also talks about your academic achievements. It does not tell about what really were the grades that were allotted to you. So, it's a nice and a very interesting way of putting forward your academic achievements while maintaining the guidelines. Please focus on your internship contributions. Look at the impactful contributions and in the positions that you have held, whatever you have achieved in your internships, try and quantify the results, and also focus on the practical exposure that you have had. Show that practical exposure. Talk about the teams that you have worked with. Talk about how this particular experience has prepared you for the professional challenges. Third is when you're building your resume for your ISB PGP VIL application, especially showcase your extracurricular leadership. Your extracurriculars are a very good way of looking in, they give us insights about your teamwork, leadership, and initiative. And don't, write in a very generic way. Something very generic will be something like participated in debates and competition. However, the resume ready statement would rather be, secured a first place in the national debate competition with 200 plus participants. It shows, what was the scale of the event, then showcasing strong analytical and communication skills. So you can say that, or you can talk about further about, what you really achieved in that particular leadership experience through the extracurricular activities. So focus on your extracurricular activities, work on highlighting the right skills and trying and quantify these achievements as much as possible before you really put them into the resume. So there's a section for pro bono experience. Again, in the pro bono experience, it is a very valuable section to highlight your volunteering activities. So let's say you volunteered for an NGO, try and quantify impact. Talk about the teams that you were a part of, describe the scale, scope of your work, and define what your responsibilities were. Try and be specific in saying, what you actually did. Did you bring in more mentors for the NGO? Did you enhance the outreach for the NGO, or did you really just go into fundraising for the NGO? So volunteering for an NGO is a very generic word talking about volunteered for the NGO's literacy program, teaching 50 plus children, improving the academic performance by 30%. You will also know this method as the STAR method. However, it is important to understand how it will really apply in your particular case. Some mistakes to avoid when you are building your resume for your ISB PGP application. Don't overload it with generic info. Don't try and put in everything that you have done. Try and prioritize. Try and keep it to a one pager. What happens is that you have been a part of so many activities that you feel, a 2-page resume is good enough for you. Having said that, let me also tell you that when we build a resume for even people with 20 years of experience, we try and keep it within one page. So a one pager is a standard format. Don't overload your resume. Try and prioritize and maybe things which communicate the same skill. Pick the one that really showcases the maximum value. Focus on your responsibility, quantify your achievements. Don't write generic statements. Don't write managed the event, conducted fundraising activities. Try and put in as many metrics and specific results as well as specific roles and responsibilities that you had during this particular leadership experience that you want to showcase. So this is an example, worked on event management in the college. So you can also write it as led the sponsorship team securing 1 lakh from local businesses for the college fest. Try and quantify, try and show impact, talk about what you exactly did. And if you were working in teams, that is a must to show in your resume. Coming to the achievement section, use a lot of action oriented language. There is a list of strong verbs that you will get from a lot of websites. A simple Google search will give you so many options. Try and see which of those verbs can you use in your achievement section and how highlight your outcomes with numbers, with metrics. Quantify your achievements as much as possible, and then keep a pattern of high performance across activities. Don't keep in redundant activities, and it is also very important for you to prioritize. You will have done so many things. See which one do you want to add over here, which will add the maximum value for the application. So coming back to the points again that we have discussed so far, when you are building your resume for your ISB PGP VIL application, please make sure that you leverage your academics in the right manner. There are some things which you are not allowed to do as a part of your submission for the ISB application, which is you cannot write your contact details, you cannot write your grades, GPA, as well as test scores. So find other ways of how you can communicate the value that you bring to the table. Emphasize on your leadership skills that you have gained through your internships. Focus on everything, internships as well as your pro bono work, extracurricular activities, and the part-time jobs that you might have done. Try and quantify impact. Use specific metrics so that you are able to show your contributions. Even in volunteer work, try and just put in some time to see what is the best way to do that. And customize your resume for every application, every school. If you are planning to apply to the deferred MBA applications or even the master's applications, each school will look for something different, and your experiences can be translated into different values that you bring to the table. Every experience has so many aspects. So try and highlight those particular aspects for the particular resume that you're submitting. That's it from me for your ISB PGP VIAL resume section. All the best. And in case you need any assistance with your ISB PGP VIAL application or your interview prep, feel free to get in touch with us. For any questions around this particular topic that we have discussed, you can definitely leave your questions in the comments or reach out to us as well.